All right, good morning, you guys. Welcome to Science. Ms. Hartner here, going to go over your review sheet with you guys since you're going to have a test next Monday, or Tuesday. And it's going to be multiple choice on Google Forms. Please remember, don't always trust Google's grades. It doesn't grade accurately occasionally, so sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't, but don't rely on Google's grading, okay, you guys? So I am going to open up what you're probably going to see on your computer later today. I'm going to share my screen. Here we are. All right, let's go. Nope, slideshow. Give it a minute. There we go. Okay, so we're going to go over the scientific method and lab safety things today. We are going to kind of just view and look at what we've been going over. Okay, so this should be a pretty easy test. It's like the easiest test you're going to take all year. All right, first, we need to talk about your scientific method because you're going to have about 5 to 7 questions where you're going to put the scientific method in order. So he's going to have to pick which step follows the statement. So let's remember, problem is usually asked in the form of a question like, what would happen when I do this? Or let's compare it to that paper airplane. What would happen if I changed the paper type that I made an airplane out of? As always, the first thing you're going to look at. And after your problem, you're going to go ahead and you're going to form a hypothesis. So when you're a little kid, they teach you to say, I think. Oops, sorry guys, hit the button. We're not going to use I think. We're grown-ups or we're mature kids. We're going to use things like, if I change the paper from notebook paper to construction paper, then my plane would fly farther because it's going to be stronger. Okay, so your hypothesis is going to have 2 parts. Next, you're going to do your experiment, which is called testing your hypothesis. You're going to follow the procedures. You're going to make sure you have all the materials you need, and you're going to actually perform the experiment. Next, data or analysis, or analyzing data, sometimes it's called that. That's where you're going to look at all the information you've learned from your experiment, and you're going to either put it in a chart, a graph, take pictures, things like that to record what happened. And last, your conclusion is always going to be in paragraph form. That means at least three sentences. You're going to say, hey, my hypothesis was that I thought changing the paper would make the plane go farther, and my hypothesis was, and you'll either say correct or incorrect. So let's say it was incorrect, okay? Changing the paper did not change the flight distance of my paper airplane. Next time I will try changing the weight, okay? So conclusions are always what happened, what you discovered, and what you're going to do different the next time. So pretty simple. All right, lab safety. So we're not going to read through all these. I know you can read, so you're going to be just fine with this, but I do want you to remember on your test, you're going to be asked questions of like, what's the safest thing to do, or who's being safe in this scenario? Or it might even say, if you were doing this lab, what tools would you use in order to perform safely the experiment, okay? Always remember, we're gonna try and put our hair back if we have hair ties, we're gonna wear goggles, we're gonna wear aprons if we need to, gloves and things like that. And again, more safety stuff. Biggest part of this one is cleaning up. Please make sure you're going to clean up your lab. If you don't know what to do, ask your teacher, because sometimes we go to throw stuff away or wash things down the sink, and that's not always the proper place. So keep lab and work areas clean and ask where to dispose of materials. Okay, here's the part where I got a lot of questions this week. So let's kind of just run through this again. You're going to have about 7 or 8 questions on variables as well. So a variable is something we change. So it's what we make different. So in an experiment, you always have a control, you have an independent, and you have a dependent, okay? Control It's what's in control. It's not going to do anything. It's just sitting there. So it is, back to the paper plane, okay? It is the piece of paper you would always make a paper plane out of. So notebook paper, because that's what you have at school. So your control is the notebook paper. Your independent variable, this is where people are getting confused. It starts with the letter I. So I think of it as I have changed it. So it's what causes your experiment to change. So in this one, you're going to, one second. Okay, sorry, another teacher came in. You are going to backtrack, Ms. Hartner. Okay, so paper planes, I gotta get back on track, I got distracted. So this is what you're going to change. So in the case of paper planes, I changed the paper type, okay? So my independent would be construction paper and white copy paper. So that is what I physically change. Your dependent variable depends on your independent. So in the paper airplane experiment, your dependent variable is going to be the distance your plane flew. Let's use proper English. Flew. Sorry, you guys. So if I went from notebook paper to construction paper, get it right, paper, that would be my independent, and my dependent is how far the construction paper flew, okay? And then if I change from notebook paper to white paper, then my dependent would be how far the white paper flew. Sorry, another teacher came in the other door. Okay, so your variables work together, okay? So independent causes the change and dependent depends on what you do. So when you're reading a question, you might say, what caused to change? Okay, so your what is your independent and the change is the dependent. Okay, if you're looking at a graph, this is the part that gets confusing for people. If you're looking at a graph trying to figure out what is what, the X is the bottom, okay? And your X would be your independent. And the Y is the side, up and down, okay? And that's gonna be your dependent. So if you have any questions or concerns, I'm always here for email or phone call, or Google Classroom chat, or whatever you call it, private message, you get me there. One thing I want you to know when you're taking your test or doing things is please remember Google is not always grading correctly. For whatever reason, if you set it up to grade, it's counting things wrong. And it's mostly the short answer ones, because if you don't write it the way I write it, Google says, not right. And then y'all freaking out, and because we don't like to see our grade be a 12. But please remember, I'm going to get on and I'm going to grade things and double check Google. So don't rely on it. Okay, so your test, even though it's multiple choice, and we should be able to rely on Google, we'll see how it plays out. Okay, so if you feel like there might be a mistake or something, just shoot me an email and let me know. Okay, I hope y'all are having a great week. So after this, actually, we should have just next week when you're taking your test, and then a couple more days and we'll be back. So I can't wait to see you and actually meet you guys in person. So I just want to say have a great day. And let me stop sharing that for a second. Have a great day and good luck on your test. Okay, bye you guys.